Hey guys, welcome to Love, Life, and Politics, where I talk about love, life, and mostly politics. Per usual, in the description below are links to all the people that I mostly listen to and watch, as well as my subscribe star. And please like, share, subscribe, and help support this channel and allow it to grow. Three things we're going to talk about today. Black Lives Matter, murdering Indiana mother, Minnesota wanting Fed money, and AOC saying more dumb stuff. So, without further ado, let's talk about what happened this week. First major thing is Black Lives Matter shooting an Indiana mother. So, if you have not heard this story, which I'm willing to bet a significant majority of our population in the U.S. have not heard this story, a woman was out with her group of friends. I think they were also armed. I think they were like Second Amendment type people, and then Black Lives Matter people who were, I guess, armed as well. I guess there was a little bit of a scuffle. There's different stories to this, but this is the one that seems to be most legit to me, at least from the sources that I've been listening to and reading up on. And somehow it came to a point where they were both like, okay, we both got guns. Nobody needs to get all crazy, and they parted their ways. And somehow they, her and her man started walking. I guess they got to a bridge, and somebody lit her up. I think 3 shots, 1 in the head and 2 in the body. And this lady is now dead. And the reason for this is because Black Lives Matter walked by her and probably annoyingly said, "Black Lives Matter" to her. And she responded, "All lives matter." And now she's dead. So here's how I think about it. If there was a group in there that weren't racist before, I bet mad bucks that a few that were friends with her or people who have heard the story who are close to her are now probably a lot more inclined to be racist. This person, this woman, this mother, this wife, or eventual wife, since she was walking with her fiance, lost her life because she had the audacity to say all lives matter. And Black Lives Matter showed her and the people around her that they were serious when they said Black Lives Matter. Because guess what? She didn't fit into the Black Lives Matter narrative, so guess her life was worth taking. And we can see the hypocrisy that's going on right now in the media. That's going to be a recurring thing pretty much every time I do one of these weekly rundowns, because it seems to happen every week and it's not stopping. Nobody is covering it except in conservative circles or libertarian people are in the middle. Why is it that when a woman loses her life that's white due to, I would say, essentially Black Lives Matter, they don't want to say anything about it because it's going to paint the organizations that they support in a bad light? How is that true, unfake, unbiased news? That's not how it should be right now. People should be aware of these things happening. They should be aware of police brutality when it happens. They should be aware of all of it. But they don't think it matters when a white woman loses her life for simply saying all lives matter, which is a factual statement. In fact, we should be in uproar about this. I don't support Black Lives Matter because I've looked and seen what their manifesto, their mission statement says. And in no way, shape, or form does it better the life of African Americans. Technically, they're not African Americans. They're Americans of African descent. Black Americans. But here we go, defending them and not talking about the horrible things that people do in the name of BLM. But y'all are willing to say and roast and attack anybody that says anything or does anything that you don't like that simply has a Trump hat on. Y'all are ready to excoriate Trump and his entire movement for a couple of bad apples. But your side murders a mother, but you're not going to excoriate BLM for that, are you? Oh no, it was just independent. They just support it. It's separate. In fact, worse than that, they're not even going to talk about it at all. And I'm guaranteeing you this. You guys are creating more racists than you could ever imagine. And I, personally, cannot really be mad at them. If all they see is Black Lives Matter, and their mother dying because she had the audacity to say an also true statement that all lives matter, I can understand. I don't sympathize with that, but I can understand the rationalization of somebody who now dislikes you for the color of your sins because you made it about the color of your skin. And then you, because you made it about the color of your skin, murdered their mother, fiance, daughter, sister, friend, co-worker. And guess what? Those people are going to tell those people. Those people are going to tell those people. Black Lives Matter is creating more racists than they could ever imagine to begin with. And they're very dumb. And they're not realizing it. You don't want to come together. You want to just push your agenda and that's it. Anytime Terry Crews, look at that. He has the audacity to say something along the lines of all lives matter. He understands what's going on and what you're fighting for. He's giving you leeway, but saying he doesn't want it to morph into something that is destructive, supremacist even. And you guys attack him for that. Man, y'all got another thing coming. I hope Trump wins hard. And I pray that he finds a way to mend this divide, even though the liberals have essentially capitalized on this to the max. They do better when we are divided. Isn't that crazy? Anytime Trump is doing good for any community, they want to push out everything that can make him look divisive towards that community. And I know, I just don't respect it when you say you're objective and you're over here pushing your own objectives. That's not how it's supposed to be. And I think they really should check themselves, check their privilege, and fix what's going on with them, because they got it twisted and they're hurting America for the worst. Anyways, next story is Minnesota wants the federal government to give them money to clean up their streets. So they essentially decided it was smart to not enforce the law, and now they want Trump to come pay for them not enforcing the law. Is that not crazy to you? And Trump, man, I gotta respect that president. Respect my president. 'Cause he was like, no, you're foolish. You're retarded. You think it's okay to not enforce the law, allow these ridiculous, dangerous protests. My bad. I almost turned into a liberal. Rioters, capitalizers, because they're capitalizing on this movement. You allowed them to run rampant and destroy your city, your state. And now you want me over here in Florida, who has a good governor, who has good people living here who aren't losing their minds, to pay for your mistakes? Nah, you got me effed up. And I respect Trump to the umpteenth degree for putting it on the table, essentially. No, I'm not going to pay for your incompetence. That's not happening. And I think more things like this need to happen. If states keep on messing up because of their dumb liberal policies, they should have to suffer. The federal government is not your daddy. He's not your daddy. Okay? There's certain things that he's there to do and certain things that he's not there to do. And one of those things is not picking up after yourself whenever you make major mistakes. You're a big boy. You're living on your own. You're in your own house. Make the right decisions. Dang idiots. And then lastly, AOC says the dumbest thing. Actually, I can't say the dumbest thing. She says a lot of dumb things, so I can't say the dumbest. I might be fact checked, and then they'll be like, no, this is one thing that she said that's even dumber than that. She says that less cops would mean more suburbs. Essentially, when we take cops out of the situation, places would turn into suburbs. She's an idiot. I don't tend to attack people's intellectual. I mean, maybe I do in a funny way. Maybe I do. Don't fact check me on that. I try my best not to attack people's direct characters. Okay? I try my best. Try to be objective and try to give everybody a benefit of the doubt. This chick is dumb. Like, I would say objectively dumb. I know this is my quote unquote opinion, but I would say if anybody were to look at what she just said objectively, they would say that is a very dumb and absurd statement. That in areas with crime, if you remove the officers who are trying to prevent crime, that crime would go down. That's really dumb. That's like one of those situations where it's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? No, fool. Because there's crime, a lot of it, cops have to go there to protect taxpayers who pay for the cops to try their best to keep their streets clean, keep their streets safe, keep their kids safe. Look at what happened in Chaz Chop. That's what happens when there's no cops. Opportunists, dummies, idiots, youngins who got nothing better to do are going to take advantage. You have people who are unelected running the streets. And I got to be honest, I'm not saying that cops are absolutely perfect because they are human and humans always fall short. Always. But without them, man, oh man. Man, oh man, oh man. You're screwed. And guess who would be affected more by this type of mentality? Inner cities, places where minorities are out, which have high crime rates. You think crime is going to get better when the cops leave? In many places where they're chanting defund the police, they've already seen 100% increases in crime just by talking about getting rid of the cops. What do you think is going to happen when the cops aren't there? You're stupid. And this right here is why I believe in freedom of speech. In no way, shape, or form would I want Ocasio-Cortez to lose her platform. No way. I don't even want it to be restricted. What I want is for everybody to be able to critique, talk, and expose the idiocy that is in her mind and the mind of the people that she essentially endorses. That's on Biden's platform too, by the way. I want people to hear this idiocy and attack it and expunge it, get rid of it. Vote her out. Roast her to the point that she does not want to say something dumb like that again, and she's going to think twice before she says something. I, again, support freedom of speech, but I definitely support you being roasted for saying dumb stuff. And one day, because I am human, I know I am going to say something dumb, and somebody is going to roast me for it, and I'm probably not going to be happy I'm being roasted for it, but I will respect the game. That's just how it is. People like this in politics need to be exposed and then voted out and then roasted. Okay? I'm not good at roasting people like face to face, but political figures, people who are essentially making policies that are going to affect people I care about and eventually, if allowed to grow, going to affect me directly, I'm allowed to roast the balls off of them. 100%. We need I wouldn't even say more cops. We need better cops. What do I mean by better? I'm willing to say 95, 98% of cops out there are good, well-intentioned, trying their best to uphold the law. Individual civilians, cops. 100%. I believe that. 100%. That 2%, guess what? We need to be able to get rid of them much easier in a very streamlined way. I agree with that. I also agree with making cops have to get trained in hand-to-hand combat so they're able to submit people who are bigger than them, more agile than them, less experienced than them, a lot better. I would say cops not having to resort to using weapons is great 100% of the time. They should be able to put them into a good chokehold, a correct chokehold, and put somebody to sleep. True chokeholds don't constrict your breathing. It just constricts the blood flow to the brain. You can put somebody to sleep in seconds. Imagine if our cops were all trained in doing that. How many situations would have been drastically different? If Crook, is it Brooks? If the cops were well trained and were able to just, as soon as they got their hands around him, to maneuver him and night, he wouldn't have been able to grab the taser, beat up 2 cops, and then try to tase them and get lit up. I think cops need better training in hand-to-hand combat or grappling. Jiu-jitsu is what I'm trying to get at. That's the most effective from what I've seen. We need to train our cops more. Not defunding them, paying for better cops. That's what we need. And I think we need to get rid of some of these unions that are allowing cops who are not doing a good job. Same with the teachers out there who are not doing a good job, are essentially put in a position where it's virtually, you have to jump through hoops to have ineffective or people who are even doing wrong things to be fired. That's what need to be fixed. Not less cops. Anybody who says that is a dum-dum. And there's again, I'm not closed-minded. I can see the argument for having a separate force that deals with non-violent crimes, like tickets or stuff like that. I can see an argument for that. Or we can better train our cops to be able to do many more things. But there's an argument for both. But there is no argument for getting rid of cops. Sorry, bud. I'm sorry. You're dumb if you make that argument. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have a blessed week, blessed weekend. Stay safe. Don't do drugs. Love Jesus. Have a blessed one.